My husband kicked me out of our home the night he lost his temper. But what he didn't know was that I was about to become a millionaire. This is the story of how losing everything gave me the strength to walk into something greater, something he never saw coming. And when he found out what I'd been hiding, he couldn't believe what he'd thrown away. 5 years ago, I married Sam. He was charming, ambitious, and told me I was everything he ever wanted. And like so many women, I believed love was enough. We moved into a small home in the suburbs. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. In the beginning, he held my hand like he'd never let go. He brought me coffee in bed, left little notes on the mirror, made me laugh like no one else. But over time, the warmth faded. The laughter turned into cold silence, and the hand that used to hold mine started pointing fingers. It started small. Comments about how I dressed, why I didn't clean the house right, why I needed to stop hanging out with my best friend. He'd get frustrated when I didn't agree. He said I was too emotional, too sensitive, and eventually, too much to deal with. But I stayed, because I remembered the man I married, and I kept telling myself, maybe he'd come back. Instead, things got worse. One evening, we had a disagreement about something trivial. Groceries, I think. But it wasn't about the groceries. It was about everything he'd been holding in. And that night, it exploded. He screamed, called me names I still can't forget. And then, the words that froze me in place. Get out! Pack your things! I don't want you here. I looked around at the home I helped build, the walls I decorated, the couch I cried on, and he was standing there, like a stranger. So I did it. I packed one bag, and I left. What Sam didn't know was that 3 weeks earlier, I received a letter from my grandmother's attorney. She had passed away peacefully and left me everything. Her lake house, her investments, her private savings, her shares in a family business I never even knew existed. At the time, I didn't say anything. I didn't want Sam's love to change into greed. I wanted to wait and see if the man I loved still saw me, even without the money. Now I knew the answer. I stayed with a friend that first night, and then, slowly, I began rebuilding. I used part of the inheritance to rent a small, quiet place. I enrolled in a course I'd always wanted to take. Interior design. I started working with a mentor, learned how to manage investments, took walks, wrote in my journal, and day by day, I came back to life. And you know what? I didn't miss him. I missed the idea of who he used to be, but not the man he'd become. 2 months later, he called. First just once, then twice, then every day. He asked how I was, told me he missed me, said maybe we could talk. I stayed silent. Until one day, I agreed to meet him. We met in a cafe. I wore a simple dress, nothing flashy, but I was glowing because I was finally at peace. You look different, he said. I've been thinking about us, about what we had. I smiled and said, funny, I've been thinking too, about what I inherited. He blinked. What do you mean? So I told him everything about my grandmother's inheritance, about the lake house, the business, the freedom. He looked like someone had punched him in the gut. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. And I looked him in the eyes and said, because I wanted to see how you'd treat me when you thought I had nothing. He stared at me, silent, defeated. And for the first time in years, I felt powerful, not because of the money, but because I finally chose myself. Sometimes life strips everything away, only to show you what you truly have. He kicked me out, thinking I'd crawl back. But I stood up, walked away, and built a life far better than the one he offered me. So if someone throws you away, let them, because what's waiting for you outside the door might just be your freedom, your peace, and the life you never thought you deserved. You are not what they call you. You are not what they do to you. You are what you choose to become. When the storm clears, like, comment, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today.